And welcome to the final program of the week here at IPC Apex Expo, the show wrap-up. Catch up on everything that's happened this week. I'm delighted to be joined by Mike Skinner from US Tech.
Thank you, Trevor.
Good to see you, Mike. And, of course, our old friend Keith Bryant from Keith Bryant Consultants.
Good morning.
Good morning. Okay, so let's start first of all with you, Mike. What were your big takeaways from the show?
Well, it feels like people are back. It really feels like we're probably maybe 70-80%. Back to normal. Yeah, pre-COVID.
Visitor levels. Yeah,
that feels nice.
Yeah.
The first day of the show was probably what last year was for all 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
I think, and the mood's positive overall.
Yeah.
I think people are really happy to be back out and networking.
Yeah, it's been a really positive show. Funny enough, the first day I think was the busiest of the three, which is normally usually the second one.
Second, yep.
Yeah. But what were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the same. The exhibitors seem happy. Some of them said, well, we didn't have huge expectations and we've done a lot better than we thought we did. Mm-hmm. A lot of them were also kind of a bit baffled that the first day was pretty much hectic straight out the blocks and didn't finish until like after 5.
Right.
So, that was a good thing. And then yesterday was a little bit more back to a normal, manageable level for some of them. Mm-hmm. And delegates that I've spoken to are happy. Mm-hmm. The guys from the conference are happy.
Yeah, the conference is very well attended. And,
yeah.
And of course, that's one of the hidden things here at this show. I mean, it's much more than just an exhibition. It's also all the standards meetings and things like that. And some of these standards meetings were absolutely packed out the door. And it's been a really busy week.
Yeah, I mean, they say it's the biggest attendance at the conference for the last 10 years. So, wow. That takes us a way back past COVID. So,
all right. So maybe we're going to migrate with all this business that's coming back from Asia. We're going to start moving back to the old NEPCON West days.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people that I've spoken to are, some of them are OEMs and they're bringing manufacturing back in-house. Some of them are contract manufacturers that are setting up here or Mexico. A lot of, I guess geographically it's a good place for people to come from Mexico to have a look at a big show. And I think there's been a lot of interest from people there, and there's Mexican distributors exhibiting here too.
Yeah.
And I think, it all sort of leads to a nice pattern of potential growth for the year and beyond.
Right.
So.
Yeah, and I think one of the interesting things this year is we've got a big Indian pavilion here of Indian suppliers of equipment. And I think that's indicative of some of the manufacturing coming back to the United States. We're probably going to see more country pavilions going forward at future Apexes, I would think.
Yeah, it'll be good. I mean, traditionally we've always had them in Munich at Productronica.
Yeah.
There's always been 4 or 5, country pavilions or sometimes even trade association from that country pavilions. But
right.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's it's a great way of getting to the show if you're part of a larger stand. It helps with the organization, helps with the costs. And
absolutely.
Yeah, it brings us people that we haven't seen before. So.
That's true. Did you get a chance to have a look around any of the Indian exhibits or any of these things?
Yeah, one contract manufacturer in particular, Aimtron.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I spoke with a little bit.
Okay.
And India just seems like that place is going to go crazy over the next few years.
Yeah.
They're going to pass, what are they going to surpass China in population this year?
Yeah,
yep.
That's true. I mean, we've been talking for years about India opening up. And it's been a false start for so long, but I think it's eventually happening.
Yeah, I think infrastructure is getting better, communication's getting better. There's also a good level of skilled people that can become technicians and engineers very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's something that there isn't in a lot of countries now.
That's true. Okay, so let's get back to the show. Takeaways, what actual new equipment did you see, or products or company announcements?
I think, we've seen some new equipment. Fuji had a new placement machine.
Mm-hmm.
They dropped out. I think some people are waiting for Productronica, though. I know they're kind of keeping some things under wraps.
Right. So was that new
lots of
Fuji machine,
software.
was that an extension of that NXTR they've got, the automatic robot one? Or was that different?
I'm not sure exactly. Yeah. To be honest, I wasn't sure, but I know it's just the next generation of I think it was the Amex platform.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So Science Scope, they had a new system that really takes the place of four operators, for goods inwards.
Yeah, I mean it's an interesting system, and it's a move back from the traditional X-ray companies that are selling component counters, and then they started to sell component counters with a bit of handling.
Yeah.
And this is basically a lot of handling and control and organization, and it's
sticking the labels
yeah,
on,
it's
inspecting that you got the right label and all this kind of thing.
It takes out any potential for human error, which is one of those, it's great if you can save operators and do other things, but unfortunately we know that occasionally we humans screw up.
Yeah.
And if you've got an automated system with good checks and balances, then you've got something that's going to ultimately improve your yield and your quality, because you're not going to end up with the wrong reel loaded in the right place.
Absolutely.
Or whatever. So
Absolutely.
it's an interesting move into more control.
Right. Okay. ECD, they brought out a new handheld mole, the mole V6. I don't know if you saw that, but it's a touch screen system.
Yeah,
it's pretty cool.
And again, it's neat, and it gets rid of a lot of the issues that people have had previously using any kind of mole or tracker or whatever through ovens. It's it's how would I describe it? I guess you've got to say it's more operator friendly.
Right.
Yeah, and it just simplifies everything, and it puts the intelligence in the box rather than in the hands of the technician, or it always used to be a senior quality person that had to run the profiles and set everything up, and now it's back to a good engineering level.
Right. Yeah, it's got a really nice GUI interface. Makes it easy.
Yeah. It keeps people from having to run back and forth constantly to the machines.
Yeah.
I mean, if you could just have it in your hand,
okay,
you could see the whole thing.
Yeah. And right across the way from them was BTU, which of course introduced a profile tracer. So this is the first time they've got their own profiler, if you like, inside the machine. I'm guessing it's an optional addition, but it's interesting to see that the oven manufacturers are now starting to make their own profilers.
Yep. And again, it's that sort of broadening of what you do, and I guess the argument is, if we make our own profiler and it suits our oven, it suits the way that everything works.
Right. Okay. One of the most interesting interviews I did this week was with a new company, a startup called Mech Nano. I don't know if you're familiar with them, but they brought out a technology for dealing with carbon nanotubes.
Are they making resin for 3D printers?
They are, among other things. What they're doing is they're the problem with the carbon nanotubes is they tend to clump. So what they have to come out with is a system where they can untangle them, turn them into straight tubes, and then apply different coatings to the outside of that tube for different properties. For example, to make them ESD compliant, or to make them stronger physically by putting metals into them, or by improving the thermal characteristics so that it can be used for high temperature applications. I think it's an amazing thing, because it gives the ability to expand the capability, the types of materials that you can make. I mean, up until now we've been pretty much limited to the alloys and materials that you've got in the periodic table. By bringing in some of these new systems from the carbon nanotubes, it's limitless, some of the changes and the behaviors you're going to get out of these materials. And at the end of the day, any expansion of our technology is only going to be by developing material science.
Yep, and as you say, it's a good way forward. I mean, possibly, if I say one thing I was expecting to see more of here and I didn't, was 3D printers.
I saw one. Did you
Yeah,
see the one?
there's
on,
one or two, I think. But
Yeah. There was one on Kurt Sessa.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know Impossible Objects too is 3D printing out,
Yeah.
like tooling.
That's right. They're doing
Yeah.
composites for pallets for wave soldering and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, and again, this is a nice extra because tooling for printers, tooling for wave solder, tooling for was always quite an expensive and a long term,
You had to wait
a
quite a
long
while to
time
get
process. You got a job, you had to order everything. You waited 3 or 4 weeks to get back what you needed to do the production.
Right.
And now you've got a 3D printer. It's a matter of hours.
Right. And that's important because I mean the cycle times, for getting things into production are getting shorter and shorter.
Oh, yeah.
And so we need things to happen faster. We
Yeah.
need faster changeover.
Yeah, I mean it's one of the reasons a lot of people are buying jet printers or jet dispensers. It's because they don't have to wait for the stencil, or they don't have to.
Yeah.
It's much easier if you need to modify a program than to modify a stencil. So
Yeah, very true, very true. On the business side, any announcements that you are aware of on the business side?
Well, people are very positive that we're not going to go into a recession. Mm-hmm. That's
I think that's
some
the
news.
sentiment across the show as
Yeah.
well. Yeah, I mean we did have we've had a few layoffs, shall we say, from some of the bigger companies. The Amazons, the
Yeah.
Googles, and the Microsofts. But
they had a lot of fat to trim.
They had a lot of
They
fat
had
to
a
trim
lot.
because they actually hired a lot more people going into COVID to deal with the extra, the people working from home, the people wanting to buy more laptops and all that kind of thing. So I think really, as we've discussed before, I think this is just a correction really rather than a recession, as it were.
yeah, I think that's at least that's the best way to look at it because it's a lot more positive. So
Well, and even on the other end of that, I mean, the number of new product introductions that are coming into the industry, electronic gizmos and EVs and all the rest of it, the demand is huge.
Oh yeah.
So even if there was a general recession
Yeah.
to come, I don't think the electronics industry would be impacted anywhere.
No, I
near
mean
as hard.
That's what it seems.
Yeah, the semiconductor industry didn't really dip much during COVID. Okay, they changed what they were manufacturing to take care of that big wave that hit of everybody working from home.
Yeah.
But their progression is nicely upwards for the next 3 or 4 years, and nobody's looking to change those forecast graphs. So that if semiconductors are going up, then everything else on the back of it is happening as well.
Yeah. Okay. So what one business announcement I heard was that Austin American announced that they had acquired the AquaClean system. That was previously owned by the Stolting company.
Yeah.
So that brings, adds a huge amount of inline business to the stuff that Austin American were already doing with batch cleaners and things.
Yeah, and inline tends to be the way to go for the volume companies. So moving that way, it's a logical acquisition. And I mean, we know from the standards committees here and all the other stuff we see, cleaning and coding and everything that's going to lead to higher reliability is a hot topic now, and it's going to be for the next couple of years as well.
Yeah. I'd love to see some revised figures on how many people are cleaning before they coat. I mean, it used to be 20%, but I think that number's gone up.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
and even people who are cleaning but not coating.
Right.
So they're at least making sure that the ionics and all the nasty stuff is off the board before it goes into whatever it is. And I mean, there was a time in the bad old days where we cleaned everything because we had a flux on there that was horrible, and if we didn't wash it off, it created huge problems. And we're washing for different reasons now, but it's starting to become quite a standard process. Whereas it was like, I've got 8 production lines, and that line over there at the end we're coating and cleaning stuff on, and it's now back to
Part of the
mainstream
process.
production. Yeah.
There you go. Okay, good. So any thoughts on next year, Mike? We're moving, I believe.
We're moving, yeah. This is the last year in San Diego for a while. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I personally am sad to see it go.
Yeah.
I love coming here.
Yeah.
I mean, who doesn't?
Yeah, I like this too. So unless you're a big fan of Mickey Mouse and Anaheim's not going to do much for you.
No, I mean this is pretty. It's pretty much a unique venue of all the places that I go to around the world. There's a couple in Asia that are close, but everybody stays almost across the street.
Yeah.
Everybody goes out to eat and drink in the evening across the street.
Yeah.
And, you know, you meet up with the people that you see at the show, you meet up with customers, you meet up with your competitors. It creates that really nice atmosphere.
That's true.
And while Anaheim is a nice convention center and they've got plenty of hotels and places to go, everybody is spread.
It's
and,
spread out.
You know, I don't think anybody is going to say, yeah, I'd rather be at Anaheim than here.
Well, we'll see. You know, and things might change, you know, going forward. But, you know, one big difference, though, next year is it's going to be in April, which, you know, I'm glad to see it moving away from that January slot because it was just too rushed. Everybody, it came up on you too quickly. You know?
Yeah.
And in Productronica years, you know, you'd have Productronica in November, and before you knew it, you were straight into an Apex.
Yeah.
So I'm, for one, I'm much happier to see it moving to the April time slot. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. So, any final thoughts, Mike?
Oh, I'm just happy that we're all out again, and
Right.
that the specter of COVID has receded, at least for the meantime.
Yep. Okay. And it's nice to be without the masks and seeing all our friends again. So, I want to thank you for coming in, giving us your input, and I want to thank the audience that's been watching all our programming this week. It's been a really fun week, lots of great content. So you can, of course, catch up on it on the Global SMT website. It's all been recorded and kept there. And the other announcement we want to make, of course, is that coming up on May 8th, we're going to be holding our eSmart Factory Conference in Nuremberg in Germany. So that's coming up. The date for abstracts is coming up very quickly. So if you are interested in presenting a paper at that event or a presentation, please make sure and get it in quickly. But that's coming up soon. So with that said, I want to say thank you very much, everybody, and thank you to our audience for watching this week.
The Arch FX manufacturing platform, processing over 1 trillion data points each month, bringing value to every level of your organization. That's manufacturing insights for tomorrow.
At Kaizen, we know it's the science that makes the difference. The right solutions happen when you care enough to ask the right questions. And we understand that your performance is directly related to ours. Science knows why it works, care knows why it's important. Expand your inspection capabilities. Inspect in 5 directions using top and 4-angled cameras simultaneously. Find defects that a single camera can't detect, such as OCR and QFN solder bridge. Best in class performance 18 megapixel sensor.